Hello everyone, Lawrence Fleming here again. This image looks a lot better than the dark one, so I have to shoot a little bit later in the day. Even if I get up at 6 in the morning, I don't want to be making videos, I guess. Got to have the master of lighting come out with the sun. I want today to talk about how do we deal with the public who are starting to notice things, but they're rebelling because that's their nature right now. What do you do when someone says, they've been looking for Christ's return for 2,000 years? Or if they say, we're not in the end times. What are you doing? You're making this stuff up. You're trying to scare us. No, God's trying to scare you, and we're just giving you the message. Want to start off with? Let's quickly do a couple of studies here. Let's look at Hebrews chapter 1, verse 1. We're actually going to get to verse 2. God, who at various times and in various ways spoke in time past to the fathers by the prophets. So he used the prophets to talk to everybody. Whoever it was, it doesn't matter. There's a number of prophets. Some were designated and that was their only job. Some had kind of other jobs. But that's how God spoke to him. He picked one person he could talk to, one that was obedient. And they were given the gift of prophecy, and they had it basically from then on. Okay, so to the fathers by the prophets, had in these last days spoken to us by his Son. Paul is saying that when Jesus came, that's the last days. You know, we've been in the last days for 2,000 years, and we haven't had all the things happen. But when Jesus is talking about wars and rumors of wars, he's talking about all the wars after he's gone until now. Millions of people have died in all these different wars and the plagues, the Black Plague and the Europe and England and that killed millions of people. All those things were part of the birth pangs. And they're getting worse as we get further and closer to the end. They started back then. That's why the Thessalonians thought they missed the rapture. And Paul had to tell them, no, you haven't. We're all still looking. Okay, so the last days are here, and they've been here, but nobody cared. They didn't care until they started seeing all the other signs. Now we know, most of them. The creation of Israel, that was a big sign. We just had, a few years ago, the Revelation 12 sign. What did it mean? We must have missed the event, but it was a stepping stone in the right direction. We're seeing the price of food and everything go up right now. That's getting their attention. Price of gas has come back down a little bit, but they're not done with it. Russia's still fighting over gas, natural gas and oil. So let's take a quick look at what we're looking at now. Revelation chapter 1, verse 1. The revelation of Jesus Christ in which God gave him to show his servants. Who are we? We're the servants of Jesus Christ. Paul kept calling himself a bondservant. A bondservant is a slave that was set free and returned to work for his same master because he didn't want to go away. His master was a good master, so he chose to stay. He's a bondservant. Gave him to show his servants things which must shortly take place, and he sent and signified it by his angel to his servant John, who bore witness to the word of God and to the testimony of Jesus Christ. To all who read and hear these words of this prophecy and keep these things which are written in it, for the time is near. So they've been talking about the time being near for 2,000 years. It's nearer now than it's ever been, but it's been near. So for anybody to say we're not in the last days, we're not near, yes we are, but we're on God's time frame, and we don't know how to pick that out and say on this date this is going to happen. We're getting spoiled. You know, it used to be you would get a farmer's almanac, and it would give you a plan for the whole year. In springtime, this will happen, and you want to plant here. They couldn't, they were doing this based on averages. This is what should happen this time of year. Now, they're telling us at 10 o'clock the storm is going to arrive. It's going to be raining for 4 hours. There might be lightning. There's a tornado moving here that might be in your area in the next 30 minutes. We're getting real-time stuff now. They can tell us everything that's going on. I'm going to cut this quickly short right here, and then I'll continue on. I'm getting a message from my son who's out of the country, and I don't want to miss him, so I'll be right back. Okay, everybody, I'm back. My son's doing fine. He's down in South America, visiting with some friends. I wouldn't mind doing some traveling, but I need to go to the other side of the planet. I need to really get over and visit my homeland of Scotland, and then get over to the Holy Land again. That's in my plan, God willing. We'll see what happens. All right, as we were just reading out of Revelation, Revelation is the only book in the Bible written by God to tell us about Jesus and the things to come. It's written specifically to us, the servants of Jesus, to Christians. It's not written to the chosen people unless they've accepted Christ. Because we're all going to be part of one big group. Accepting Christ as our Savior, as our leader, as our God, we're all going to be together. We're all going to be the chosen people. Some naturally, and some adopted in. And this goes for the Muslims too. Anybody who accepts Christ is in this new group. We're the bride of Christ, if you will. And there will be a party at some point in time. But when all this is over, we can't party while people are dying. So it's got to be when it's all over. One thing I've noticed is that as it's gotten warmer, the bugs are out more. So if you see me doing this, it's keeping them away from my face and everything. I saw a tick yesterday that was not on it. It was on the table. So far I haven't picked up any ticks. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but we've got all kinds of bugs that can be annoying. We've got chiggers and red bugs and ticks. So you got to be careful when you're outside. You've got to deal with the medical side of it. If you're going to go camping, always have a first aid kit. And in this area, one of the things you have to have in your first aid kit is a tick puller. And if you get chiggers, bleach works good on them. They don't like that. A nice bath and some bleach in the water will help. Okay, that's the first part of Revelation. We're going to look at the last part here. And take another break. All right, now as we jump to the end of Revelation, we're just going to kind of encapsulate everything that we've said here. Just want to quickly read chapter 21, verse 1. Now I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away. Also there was no more sea. Then I, John, saw the holy city, the New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them. They shall be his people. So God's going to replace everything. Now he's going to replace it with a newer version of everything. But that doesn't mean we're not going to have time to enjoy it. Of course we are. He's given it to us. Everything that we've had right now that we've enjoyed, God gave us. And when we get a new one, it's going to be cleaned up. We don't have to go along with a plastic bag picking up the garbage. He'll do that for us. Okay, let's turn to Revelation 22:6. Then he said to me, These words are faithful and true, and the Lord of the holy prophets sent his angel to show his servants the things which must shortly take place. Behold, I am coming quickly. This is in a red letter version. Behold, I am coming quickly. Blessed is he who keeps the words of this prophecy, of this book. Now I, John, saw and heard these things, and when I heard and saw, I fell down and worshipped before the feet of the angel who showed me these things. And he said to me, See that you do not do that, for I am a fellow servant. There was no need for him to bow down to this angel, because they were a servant too. And of your brethren, the prophets, and of those who keep the words of the book, worship God. We have a very simple instruction at the end. As I'm looking at me here in this video, I know I need to shave. It's one of the things I get out of the habit of when I don't have to go anywhere. But I will do that. I have to be clean before I go to the next campsite so they get a good image of me. I'm hoping the new campsite, I've been to multiples during this, and I'm going to be in a new one that I've never been to. I'm hoping the people there will see me reading the Bible and ask me what I'm doing. This campsite here, it's not very full. It's kind of hidden away. Most people don't know about it, and I'm hesitant to tell anybody about it. It's like you don't tell somebody about your favorite fishing hole. There's so many people traveling right now. There's so many people out of work with nothing to do. And they've managed to scrape together enough to buy an RV before the prices got really crazy. And they're living in their RVs. They're just traveling around. They're getting a chance to see the country, which not everybody gets a chance to do. Most people are working too much. But these people that are out of work are actually living in their RVs. And there's different kinds of them out here. Some are being towed by vehicles, some are self-contained. The self-contained costs a little bit more to run because the vehicle's built in. A lot of the vehicles that go with these are missing right now, so they're out doing something, I don't know. I know that there's one guy in here who works locally, and he came out here from the West Coast, and he's living in this until he makes enough money to find a place. We're all dealing with something, but God will direct us and protect us, but we have to keep busy. Don't be distracted. Peter walked on water until he got distracted. Keep your eyes on Jesus. If you're having an issue, fasting and prayer. That always seems to be the answer. When Jesus' disciples said that we tried to cast out demons and we couldn't, and they beat us up, he said, those kind are too strong for you. You need a lot of fasting and prayer to beat them. Well, more bugs. Fasting and prayer. It's good for the body to fast anyway. I usually try to fast on like a Saturday or a Friday so that it doesn't impact my work week or church. But you can do it any day. You can do multiple days if you get used to it, but you've got to get used to it. If you've never fasted before and you eat 3 meals a day, don't eat one. Fast through it. And while you're fasting, remember what Jesus said, don't put on that sorrowful face and walk around and tell everybody I'm fasting for God. They shouldn't know. Maybe if you got to the end of 40 days and 40 nights, like Jesus did, they might see some signs in you, but don't make it obvious. This is between you and God. Fasting makes your body subservient to you, to your mind. Your body can control your entire mind if you let it. The body is inherently lazy, so the mind has to motivate it. If you're running a business, one of the best type of employee to have is somebody who's athletic or an ex-athlete. Baseball players can retire to businesses because they know that they're going to work through all these issues. They're self-motivating. We all have to be that way. I don't have to get up in the morning, but I have a habit of doing it. If you don't have a habit of doing it, start right now. You can create a habit, any kind of habit, good or bad, by starting it if you don't have it already. If you have it, keep using it. Read your Bible habitually. Talk to God habitually. These are things that we can do that will help ourselves. If you want to improve your situation, fast and prayer. And prayer doesn't mean you have to put sackcloth on, go out and roll in the mud like the pigs. It just means take time out. It's got to be relatively quiet, which I like being outdoors for. But you can't pray to God in turmoil, I guess. I mean, if you got an urgent prayer, fire it off to him anytime. But for him to be able to talk back to you and give you ideas and help you, it's got to be quiet. Elijah found out about that. A still, small voice. So if you're standing next to a freeway and you're hearing the cars go by, God's not going to yell. He doesn't have to. Get away from the freeway or whatever it is in your life that's distracting you. And if you're a parent and you've got kids, you've got to deal with them because they're in high demand, especially when they're younger. But you still have, you put them down to sleep at some point. You need quiet time. You need quiet time with your mate. You need quiet time with God. You've got to make the quiet time. Things will come up. Your favorite TV show. Get a DVR or buy it on a disc if you have to watch it. And once they air a show, they always re-air it. I know when I was looking for shows that I was in, if I missed the first airing of it, I'd go find a second airing. I didn't watch half of what I work in because that's not my type of show. But a job's a job. I always played good guys, even if the people around me weren't. All right. It's going to get strange the further along we get. We're in a high watch time frame. I've already told you about May 9th. What's Russia going to do? The middle of the month, we have the anniversary of Israel. We also have a full moon. There's all kinds of things going on. The second Passover, but I don't think it's going to be a second Passover timing event because that's a Jewish holiday. We're the church. We're the non-Jews, the other white meat. Whatever it is, all of the timing is based around what God has already laid out. And we're still working with the church right now until we're taken out of here. Keep talking. And one of the things that you can do, as I said before, you're gonna put your stores up someplace, because I don't know how far we're going to go into this high cost of food thing. You need to find a good track. I keep tracks. I keep them, small ones in my wallet, and I use these as bookmarks in my Bible. But it's the things that, you can do to become a Christian. You can either hand it to somebody who you're going to be leaving right away. You can also read it to them, with them, so they can follow along. If you have one for them and one for you, you could read it to them. And you can also take these and sneak these into cartons of food and things that you're going to leave behind for the people that are going to miss the first train out. They're going to be hungry and looking for food, and if you've told some of your relatives or they know that you've got them and you know they're not going to make it out, leave these for them. And there's a gazillion types of these. Just, get good Christian ones. We don't need them learning how to worship Hare Krishna or anybody like that. But for Jesus, these will be something that will be found. You can use them today while you're here, and when you're gone, they can continue your ministry for those that need it. All right. Till we meet in the skies soon. And one last thing I want to say is I'm moving to this new campsite in 2 days. I've never camped there before. I don't know what they've got. I'm used to primitive camping with just a tent and nothing else. This is better than that, but I don't know how much, and I don't know if they have internet. They have to have cell signal. I'm just working on cell signal now. I'm not working with Wi-Fi. So I don't know. I might be a little late. We have to wait and see. God willing, everything will go beautiful. Okay. Bye for now.